With Season 7 of Outlander all set to be released in the summer of 2023, the fans can't help but wonder about all the questions that the upcoming season will answer, one of them being the mystery behind Fergus Fraser's real dad. And let's just say that you'll be surprised to know what's in store. Stay tuned as we talk all about that and tell you some things you probably never knew about the show. First up, who is Fergus Fraser's real dad? Fergus Fraser has gone on to become one of the most loved characters in Outlander, especially after the fans got to know him on a deeper level in Season 6. The truth is that the 6th season ended with Fergus going through a tough time, and it looks like Season 7 is going to be no different. This time around though, we might get some more clarity on where he really comes from. Of course, Fergus is a Fraser through and through, and he always stuck by his adoptive father, Jamie. But the fans couldn't help but wonder if his biological parents would ever be in the picture. It seems like their questions are answered because if the show continues to go by the source material, Diana Gabaldon's Outlander novels, then the French businessman and merchant Lecomte Saint-Germain, a character who has previously had a pretty important role in the 2nd season of the show. In the novels, Fergus was born out of Comte's scandalous extramarital affair with Amélie Beauchamp. That's right, Fergus's biological father isn't a new character. It's someone that the fans are already familiar with, and that's what's going to make the plot all the more interesting. Next up, what we know about the Comte. Throwing it all the way back to Season 2, we saw Claire Fraser, Fergus's adoptive mother, traveling to Paris with her husband Jamie to put an end to the Jacobite rebellion and stop the tragic Battle of Culloden from happening. During their times in Paris, the Frasers happened to meet the Comte with Claire, making an immediate enemy of him after making him lose a huge amount of money. As far as the Comte is concerned, we know from the books that he refused to marry Amélie, the mother of his child. Some theories state that the Comte seduced Amélie while he was married. After realizing she was pregnant, the Comte helped her go to a brothel hidden inside a giant carpet he had donated to the establishment. Amélie then stayed at the brothel where she gave birth to Fergus. Shortly after that, she died of influenza, leading to Fergus becoming an orphan. And while we know this from the books, Fergus and his adoptive parents have absolutely no idea. Moving on, what does that tell us about Fergus? Learning the truth about Fergus is going to open up brand new possibilities for the character. Why? Well, for starters, the Comte is known to be a time traveler who liked spending time in different eras, and because time traveling is passed down through DNA, there might be a chance that Fergus has the same ability to move through time. Not just that, but there's another theory going around about Fergus and Claire actually being related by blood. But how can that be? Well, we all know that Jamie initially hires Fergus to be his eyes and ears on the streets of Paris because of Fergus's pickpocketing talents. But both he and his wife Claire instantly fell in love with the boy, treating them as their own child. But it looks like the ties between Fergus and Claire might run deeper than just that. Of course, it's not hard to ignore the fact that Claire and Amélie do share the Beauchamp name, and while this can very well be a coincidence, we really don't think that it is. That, combined with the fact that we don't really know much about Claire's family because she too ended up becoming an orphan after her parents died in a car crash, is enough reasons for the fans to believe that Claire might just be a descendant of Fergus. Followed by, can Fergus really travel through time? Now, if you consider the fact that Fergus's biological father was a time traveler combined with the fact that Claire, who he might potentially be related to, is also a time traveler, it's pretty likely for the character to have the same ability. Could Fergus really have been living his life not knowing that time travel was passed down to him through his DNA? Of course, this would also mean that Fergus can go through the stones, leaving his own time behind for a better one. Then again though, he might end up in a similar situation as Claire because his wife Marsali probably won't be able to accompany him unless she can travel through time as well. Who knows? The possibilities are endless with all the twists and turns this show has gone through over the past seasons. Lastly, all we know about Season 7 so far. The fans were a little sad when Outlander Season 6 had to cut down on a few episodes because of how difficult shooting was during the COVID outbreak. Thankfully, Season 7 will have 16 episodes, so the fans will have plenty of time to get to the answers they have been waiting for. The production for the upcoming season started in early summer of 2022. From what we know, Season 7 is going to be based on the book Echo in the Bone, with author Diana Gabaldon writing part of the season premiere. As far as the cast is concerned, Katrina Balfe, Sam Heughan, Sophie Skelton, and Richard Rankin are all set to reprise their roles, with some new faces like Izzy Michael Small and Joey Phillips. And while Caesar Don Boy hasn't officially confirmed his return in season 7, the fact that his character Fergus is going to be central to the storyline, there's no chance that he isn't coming back. Moving on, let's take a look at some things you definitely didn't know about Outlander. First up, Claire's role was the hardest to cast. There's no denying that Claire's role is one of the most important ones in the show, which is why it was important for the showrunners to hire the perfect person to play her. While Katrina Buff has definitely done justice to the character, it wasn't all that easy for her right from the start. According to Outlander showrunner Ronald D. Moore, the person playing Claire had to be smart and needed strength of character. In Moore's own words, she had to be someone you could watch and think on camera, and thankfully, all of his boxes were checked when he saw Katrina's audition. Next up, Ewan's casting was quite the adventure. Speaking of casting, Ewan was actually the first actor to be finalized for his role in the show, but while the showrunners loved him, the author of the Outlander books wasn't all that impressed. Why? Well, because he wasn't what she had imagined Jamie to be. When she came across Ewan's picture, her very first impression was, "This man is grotesque." Now that's some pretty harsh criticism. However, when Gabaldon saw Ewan audition, all the doubts in her mind went away because she knew that this man was Jamie Fraser. Even without the costume, the props, or the set, it was evident to the author that no other man could play the character like he could. The author also went on to reveal that actors Liam Neeson and Sean Connery were considered for the role of Jamie before everyone finally agreed on Ewan. Followed by the chemistry between Ewan and Belle. Jamie and Claire have an on-screen chemistry like no other, and what's incredible to know is the fact that the two actors have been like this from the get-go. According to the showrunners, they knew they had made the right casting decision when they saw Belle and Ewan interact with each other. To them, it felt like the actors had known each other for ages. Right off the bat, the two developed a spontaneous camaraderie, genuine affection, and good humor between them. And this only confirmed the fact that they would go on to make the perfect on-screen pairing. Now for the meaning behind the opening credits song. The fans not only love Outlander for its heartfelt storyline and strong characters, they also really love the theme song of the show. But you'll be surprised to know that it's not just another catchy tune. The original song is actually titled The Skyboat Song, and it tells the story of Bonnie Prince Charlie running from Scotland after the Battle of Culloden, which is featured in the 3rd season of the show. But to make the lyrics a bit more relevant to the show's storyline, the composer Bear McCreary changed the lyrics of the song to use the word lass instead of lad to play an ode to Claire's adventures. Then we have the color red. With a show like Outlander, every little detail you see on the screen matters. In fact, in the 1st season of the show, Moore made sure that the color red wasn't used anywhere else except for the British Redcoats uniform. And even then, it took Moore weeks to perfect the exact shade of red that he wanted to show on the screen, since he didn't like the color of the actual uniforms. The costume designers had to dye and re-dye fabric to make the perfect shade of red, which ended up being deeper and richer than what we actually see on TV. Lastly, let's talk about how Outlander was actually an experiment. Nope, we're not talking about the show, we're talking about the actual source material. According to the author of the Outlander books, Diana Gabaldon, she started writing her first novel in the series in 1991, and you'll never believe the fact that it was supposed to be her practice novel. The truth is that before this, Gabaldon had never written a novel before, and she thought that the perfect way for her to learn the art was to practice it. So she made Outlander her practice story. She didn't care about perfecting the genre or following any writing rules. All she did was write whatever she wanted to. And well, we're glad that she took that approach because we sure fell in love with the final product. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of Fergus's biological father? And which one of these facts about the show surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you next time. Bye!